I'm Gareth Lyons. I was actually. This is going to work. I'm going to do my own. I studied animation, so I'm going to do an important thing about all your bullshit as well. Mind the money. I can probably. Okay. I call this set Mr. College and How I Learned to Love the Tune. I'm going to be doing drawing as well, maybe. I mean, I brought it here, so I might do something, but it was going to be really impressive. But like, I have a lot to say, and the time started to get pretty daunting, and then the more I had to say, the less funny it became, and then I thought, I could probably get some mileage out of that as well. I think between comedy and animation, I'm kind of drawn to professions that offer limited financial gain while attracting much derision from friends and family. It's not entirely true. My mum actually, she was very encouraging. She is very encouraging, she's not dead. She's very encouraging, but like when I was a kid, she was a sociology lecturer. It's going to be the most narcissistic routine I've ever done, probably. But we'll learn something maybe by the end, I do think. We'll find out. So she was like a sociology lecturer, and she, was not going to have her kids do, you're born 9 to 5. She wasn't going to, my dad was forced into doing law and all this shite, and no, that's it, you're going to have interesting careers even if I have to force you to do them. And during the summer I attended an animation workshop, and she's like, how was that? Was that good? And I was like, yeah. And she went, okay, that's all you're going to do forever. I was 10 years old. In case that doesn't get back to my mum, that's not true. That is a joke. I like drawing, I like telling stories, and then I thought, hey, combine a pair of them. That's not what animation is at all, it turns out. No. Animation is like going to, you're preparing for a trip to Germany, you get your German dictionary, you're all prepared to go, and then you arrive in Amsterdam, and you do your best. To many people it would be the same thing, but they would be wrong. And you try very hard with your newly bought Dutch little book. You couldn't even figure out if it was even the right book. But they're not particularly encouraging every time you go to them with your little bit of pidgin Dutch and say, here's what I did. That's really? Okay, if you're up. Alright, so you can see why this was a difficult routine to write, because it was very hard to do without getting very bitter. So animation, the human eye, I guess most of you might know this. Maybe this isn't a genetic fact, or a biological thing, but 25 frames per second is what basically is 25 frames is 1 second in animation or even live action. I don't know, I'm not going to speak on live action's behalf. So 25 frames a second, okay? And I thought, no, they wouldn't do that. It's not going to be 25 fucking drawings. Nobody would do that. That's insanity. Disney made a fuckload of these. They did not animate 25 drawings per second. And they didn't. They did 12 drawings per second, which is still too fucking many, okay? As far as I'm concerned. But whatever, you just deal with what you have. And so I went in there, used 25 frames a second, you put the drawings underneath the camera, you take 2 pictures of that drawing, you have 12 drawings, sometimes you can shoot on ones, is what they call it, where you just do one image, makes the movement more fluid, smoother. So there's 25 frames a second, most you're doing 12 drawings, you can shoot it on ones, you can shoot it on 2s, and did you hear that? Fucking numbers. I got into fucking cartoons, so I didn't have to deal with fucking numbers ever again. I'm sorry to be getting very sweary. I'm not normally, like I said, it's very hard to write this without getting quite bitter. I really wanted to tell stories and do that. That was pretty much why I went there. And I became very disillusioned with it until eventually going to a lecture by an animator called Mike Wing. And it's very hard to do an impression of Mike Wing without sounding like Mr. Miyagi. So you'll have to bear with me. No, I won't do that. But he is like Mr. Miyagi in many ways. And not because he's from Vietnam, because Mr. Miyagi wasn't from Vietnam, he's racist. But he stood up there, and he's just a very timid Vietnamese man. And he was up there, and he was just going, oh, well, see, everything on the planet is moving. Even trees are moving, just very, very slowly. To a guy who was dealing with numbers for so long, that really put a spin on the whole thing. And I started to think about animation in very different terms. And I mastered timing, which is why I know exactly where I am in my set right now. I hope I have enough time to say all of the things I want to say. Timing. So, yeah. It was tough getting through college, basically. It's very technical. I was going to do some drawings, and then I realized I couldn't do 2 things at the same time, but too late. And yeah, I guess technically animation is a very daunting process. And then last week I was teaching children animation. So that's what made me pretty confident I could teach you something too. How's it going? So we know we're 25 frames a second. You got that? And so the girl went up. There's a girl, because now there's a girl in the story. This is the girl who was in animation workshop that I was doing. She's in third class. She's however old, 7. Let's say. And she is 7, I don't know, maybe she's 8. And she does exist, I'm not making it up, I just don't know what age she was. And kids do not understand animation at all, it turns out. And I'm apparently not the man to teach them. And I was saying, you have to do very gradual movements. And she's like, okay, this takes place over the course of 5 days. Yeah, alright, well, yeah, alright. I mean, you need a lot of drawings, I have 5. We'll see what we can do. And what this girl had decided to do was a character, and her hair was growing long and short because sexism is still prevalent even at that age. All the guys are like, woo, we're doing explosions and Power Rangers blasting off, and all the girls are, her eyelashes get very long. And I'm like, oh, that's my mum, the sociology, she would not, whatever, it's too far ahead of you, but yeah. And she came over and we took the pictures of the drawings, and her hair grew perfectly, but the speech bubbles were flashing like crazy over here, saying, where is my hair? There is my hair. Oh, my hair has come out. Oh, it's finally grown. And I suddenly was like looking at this, her clothes were changing. So basically, in this animation, okay, so we're talking about sequential images that go in an order and are moving, okay? And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the work of Scott McCloud, which is somebody I was going to bring up and then also save it to the end. Anyway. In Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics, he talked about comics and the time that passes in between gutters in the comic strip, which is the gap between panels. So any amount of time can pass between those panels. So that's why comics are a very useful way of telling the story. I don't know. Anyway, he was pretty funny. He's intelligent. He's not funny, but he's smart. I know we have in this animation, okay, his hair growing perfectly in real time. This person talking in maybe 10-minute intervals. Where is my hair? Oh, there is my hair. My hair is grown. And also taking place over the course of about 5 days. Because it's a day per page. And we're taking photographs at 25 frames. Thank you. Very good here. Me or you, I don't know. And I just thought, isn't this fascinating? It's just so much time is taking place here. We're capturing movement, we're capturing, all of these things, not only them actually, but also the feeling of them as well. And she was like, that's it. And it was. Thank you, everybody.